everyone, thank you for being here. In today's video, I want to share why I left my postdoc position at Harvard Medical School, moved to Germany, and joined as a postdoc in the University Medical Center in Hamburg. But before we dive into today's interview, if you are new here and you don't know me, I am Vidisha. I recently moved to Germany in 2023 and I'm currently working as a postdoc in Hamburg Medical Center. I completed my PhD in the US in 2023, and fun fact, my husband completed his PhD in Germany. After years of long distance relationship, I finally found a position in Hamburg, and now, after nearly a decade, we are finally living together. We created this channel to share both our personal and professional experiences navigating academia and life in both US and Germany. The challenges, the opportunities, and everything in between. Our goal is to provide you with a clear and honest picture so that you can make informed decisions about your education, career, and finances, whether you are planning to move abroad or simply exploring your options. Now, I already know that there are probably a few assumptions being formed in your head about why I left Harvard. So let me clear up a few things up front. I was not fired from Harvard. I did not leave because of a toxic work environment, funding issues, or visa problems. I wasn't forced out, not by anyone, not by any situation. In fact, my lab was very well funded. I absolutely loved working there. My group leader was incredibly supportive, and I really loved working with my lab mates. But here's the thing, going to Harvard was never actually my first plan after finishing my PhD. During the final semester, just before my defense, I had already decided that I wanted to move to Germany. I was interviewing for both postdoc and industry positions across Germany. Honestly, I wasn't even sure what I wanted to do back then. I just knew that I didn't want to stay in academia for a very long time. So I looked for fields closer to industry, for example, cancer biology, gene therapy, and similar. So why Germany? It wasn't because I hated the US, but it was because I wanted to be with my husband. We started dating in 2014 back in India. In 2017, he moved to Germany to begin his PhD, and I moved to US in 2018 to start with my PhD. The original plan was to do both of our PhDs in the same place, but that didn't happen. We got married in 2019, and by 2023, when I was finishing my PhD, we were already in a long-distance relationship for 9 years. We had done it for so long, and we were tired. One of us had to make the move. Here's the funny part. Before I started my job in Harvard, I had already gone through 2 rounds of interviews for the job I'm currently working in Hamburg, and they rejected me. After that, I interviewed for Harvard and got the offer. So, I joined Harvard as a kind of a backup plan, only waiting to get accepted to a job in Germany. And yes, my friends still laugh when I say that Harvard was just plan B. During this time, I was also rejected by a few other companies and several labs in Germany, despite having what I thought was a strong profile. It was weird to be rejected by so many places in Germany, but to be accepted in Harvard Medical School? Once I started in Harvard in May 2023, I stopped applying elsewhere. I thought maybe this is for the best. Maybe we'll have to do long distance for a little while and things will work out later. Working at Harvard was everything that I hoped it could be. Great science, smart people. If you have an idea, there was never a lack of resources to execute that idea. Funding was plenty, people were smart, always ready to collaborate, always ready to help. Almost always, over coffee or lunch, we were discussing something new. Nothing felt forced, everything felt possible. It was genuinely fun and exciting. And my lab mates? The best. I still miss them deeply. But despite all that, one thing never changed. I always missed my husband. I kept myself busy, gym, friends, social events, but I couldn't shake off the loneliness. Eventually, I stopped going to gatherings with couples. It hurt too much. Yes, coming from a small town in India, getting into Harvard was a dream come true. Everyone in my family, friends, teachers, neighbors were overjoyed. But even at that moment, all I wanted was to be with him. So why did I sacrifice Harvard? I get this question a lot because I'm a woman. People are like, why women have to make all the sacrifices? Why he couldn't move to the US? My husband finished his PhD in 2022, and by 2023, he had moved to an industry position in Germany. We both wanted to go to industry, but getting a job in the US industry as an immigrant is practically impossible because of the H-1B lottery situation. He applied to many jobs in the US but got rejected due to the H-1B requirement. Germany doesn't have that issue. If you have a job offer and a contract, you get a visa. Simple. Additionally, the volatility of jobs and visa situation in the US left us thinking if it is at all worth it to try to look for a job in the US. Yes, I have learned a lot in the US. The opportunities were great, and I grew both as a scientist and as a person. However, I'm not sure that it is the best place to look for stability as an immigrant or the best place to start a family. On the other hand, my husband was already eligible for German citizenship, had a great job, and was already settled. It made no sense to uproot him and lose all the advantages that he had built over the years. It made sense for me to move. Then one day I was sick and I received an email from my current PI in Hamburg asking that if I was still interested in this job. I jumped on my bed and instantly replied, "Yes, I would love to join." And then I called my husband. Everyone was absolutely thrilled. My husband, his parents, my parents, that finally we were going to live together. Just the thought of finally being together radically changed all of our lives. Up until that point, we had lived with so much uncertainty. All our visits were short vacations. Even after 10 years of knowing each other, we still felt a little like strangers. We missed the mundane, cooking dinners, arguing over chores, or watching TV on a lazy Sunday. I got my offer letter from Hamburg a few weeks later. I applied for my visa from Boston and handed my 4 weeks' notice to my PI at Harvard. He was sad. He had seen my progress and he knew that I was a good fit for the lab. But he understood. He supported me, and that meant everything. So here I am in Hamburg with this wonderful man I have loved for over a decade. Looking back, I don't see it as a sacrifice. I see it as choosing love, happiness, and stability without compromising my career. I'm still doing exciting science, and I'm finally doing life together. Let me know if you would still like to hear more about the labs I applied to, my selection criteria, and what it is like working in research in Germany. Drop your questions in the comments below and I will answer them in future videos. Thank you so much for listening to my story. See you later.